I was half expecting this place to be a hovel for me to have to either figure out how to do moderately complicated renovations or slink back to New York with my tail between my legs. I even had rough plans for both scenarios. I wouldn't have been surprised to find myself a character in a sitcom, a lumberjack to melt out of the woods to either murder me or save me from myself in the wild. A cliché. But that didn't mean I didn't have the strongly worded email to that deceitful realtor drafted in my head. As it turned out, I didn't need that email, or any kind of knowledge of construction, or the tail between the legs return to New York. At least, not yet. Because I was standing in front of a one-story cottage that couldn't be described as anything less than idyllic. And, unlike many Tinder dates, exactly like its picture. The A-frame structure was small, tucked in between the woods it backed onto. A welcoming cobbled path banished the unruly driveway, bordered with bright flowers and foliage this black thumb had no hope of identifying. There was a small front porch, complete with a freaking porch swing. Lights were left on, as Sally had promised when I'd called her a couple of hours ago to inform her I'd be arriving later tonight. The key was under the mat. Only in the middle of the woods could you do something like that. Smells of dirt and nature chased away the woefully inadequate, fresh pine-scented air freshener in my car. The key stuck a little in the lock, and I decided not to think of that as some kind of an omen, though it was hard. I was a writer. I conjured up all sorts of symbols, ghosts, demons, curses, murderous spirits as a part of my day job. I couldn't help but let it leak out of that and into every day. No, that was wrong. I had made a career out of that stuff that was already there. I was the girl who woke up every morning at precisely 3:33 a.m., convinced I was being haunted by a demon, that my dreams painted pictures of the future, that death was following me and would stalk me if I cheated it. All dark thoughts scuttered back to their respectful places when I opened the door. The interior of the cabin was not like the photos. It was better. Since the place was small, I walked right into the living area. A fireplace, unlit but bursting with possibility, was at the back of the living area, right beside a huge window boasting a view of a lake twinkling in the moonlight. Freaking twinkling. The place was warm, inviting, cozy. I wasn't even a person who used the word cozy, let alone would want to be anywhere that personified it. I'd been all about chic, functional, and expensive in my former life. I was one step inside this place, and I was already thinking of New York as my former life, which I guessed was accurate.